Well, kama uko na 100,000 mahali umesave kwa bank, ati unasema nacheza safe, and you're saving just for the sake of, what wanasemanga, hey, let me just save this money just in case, all right? And you up there struggling and asking people, now what can I do? You have your 100,000 and you're asking people, okay, mtu anafanyanga jina anapeka like a $500,000 or 200,000 or 500,000 or something of sort. You see, the problem that you guys do is that you save that money, or let me just avoid the term saving, you just idolize that money somewhere, and then unasema ukilose, okay, what's the reason why you have that money there? Just in case. You know why? There are three things that people huwa wanapenda sana kwa life, okay? Number one, inakuanga ni security, okay? Security. Number two, inakuanga ni comfort, all right? And number three, do you know what number three is? You see, you find like in this something called assurance or something of sort. Assurance, assurance. So you find watu huwa wanang'ang'ana sana kupata these three things in life, okay? Because this is what runs any typical average human being, okay? And allow me just to say average. So unapatanga, you have this amount of money you're saving in a bank, and it's just that money. Why? Ukiuliza why, unasema, I just want to be safe. I just want to be assured just in case. And then you turn against your money, and then you look the other side and say, hey, now wanatengenezanga $500,000. How do they do that? How do you manage to make that amount of money? You forget one thing. Kuna principle moja nafaa kukufunza leo na nafaa uelewe, okay? Now, the principle of having that money in a bank, always view it as a what? As an extra hand, or I can call it a what? A machine. What do I mean? Wacha nikuexplainia pole pole so that you understand. So if you have this amount of money or more or less, so that you can be able to know when unaweza fanya kitu moja. Now, by the way, I'm about to make a video called Banks Are Not Your Friends. So the point is this: banks, it's just a place whereby unaweka hizo do zinakuwa liability to them, and then they usually take that money to invest and they enrich themselves. So how exactly can you do, or what can you do so pia wewe ufaidike from the same concept? So this money that is in your bank, obviously sija advise mtu ende achukue hiyo pesa yake ende invest anywhere you want. No, my call is this: always incorporate what we call tactical movement, or tactical, let me just call it tactical action. What I mean by tactical action is this: yes, you risk your money, but the way you're risking your money, it's also considerate of some of the repercussions, and also you have what we call an exit plan just in case things go south, and also you have a master plan of how you can be able to handle things in case you become too much successful. Kuna mtu aliniambia, hey Joseph, I'm wondering where I'm heading. I'm actually in a point whereby I'm making a lot of money and I don't know what exactly I can be able to do, okay? So now the point is this: now you have this amount of money in your bank. What I can advise you to do is this: at all the time fanyanga hivi, hizo pesa zako ambazo ziko kwa bank zione kama tool ambayo unaweza itumia kutengeneza do zingine from an extra areas. How do you do this? You can decide to at least have this amount of money. Unaweza tumia like 50k of them, 50k, and then what a 50k kwa bank, just because if you want to feel that comfort deep inside of you, haina shida, unaweza acha ka 50 huko, chukua ka 50,000, channel this money towards an investment. You can decide to channel this money towards an MMF. I have been talking about that. I won't stress it. You can channel this amount of money towards an infrastructure bond. Okay, you can do so. And by the way, last infrastructure bond that they did float, actually people were investing with as low as 50,000. Okay, so it's an area that you can pick. And by the way, they were giving close to, not even close to 17 point, I don't know, 9327 or something of sort. You can confirm the number, but that's a very big percentage out there that they are giving. Okay, now the point is this: ukichukua hizi pesa, you can go and invest either in the areas that I've just said. A, you can do MMF. B, you can do a combination of MMF and stocks. You can do combination of MMF, stocks, index fund, or rates. Or you can decide to take this amount of money and start a conventional business or conventional investment. Kuna kitu moja unafaa kuelewa when it comes to investment ikikuja kwa businesses. Ukidecide kuinvest pesa zako, unakuanga na kitu inaitangwa low returns, okay? Low returns. Ukiweka do zako kwa businesses unakuanga na high returns, okay? So, but unajua kitu moja, high returns inakuja na repercussions zake, which is high risks. Low returns zinakuja pia na repercussions zake, which is what? Low risks. And one thing I can tell you, if you want to get wealthy through using the investments, this consider the aspect of time. You have to incorporate the aspect of time, because you see, if you have to accumulate that small amount of money continuously for a long period of time, ukitaka kuenda the wealthy way na utumia route ya kutumia businesses, obviously time is a factor, but of course it's not like that of the investments route. You get what I'm saying? Because kuna tofauti. Kwa mfano, ukichukua hizi 50,000 udecide kwenda kuweka kitu kama kuuza mitumba. Maybe let's say uanze na bells kama 2 ama 3. So the rate at which you are likely to make money when you're running such a business, it's way higher compared to you taking this money and putting in an MMF. Kwa mfano, if you take this money and put in an MMF, which is giving you a, say like 12% or something of sort. That's like 6,000 or something of sort that you get at the end of the year. But if you were to channel this money towards like this is selling bells, cameras and what have you, when I say camera in Kenya, I mean like zile nguo za kuchagua. So you guys, you understand what I'm saying? So you're likely to make more money out of that. Of maybe you go there, you know, starting like a grocery, you starting like a milk business or something of so you're likely to make more compared to, but also vice versa is true. You're likely also to lose this money because unaweza leta biashara tunasemanga uchomeke, like things doesn't go the way you expected, kulipa rent na vitu have you, and then you can get out of the business and all those kind of factors. So the point is this, wacha kusema pesa ziko kwa bank zimelai idle. Ukiulizwa reason ni nini unasema hey, just in case unajua hii life mtu ajuange, and you know, you see, don't use the entire amount of money that you have in a bank and consider it as an emergency fund. No, if you want to play safe, of which you need to secure your future, I do not disagree with that. That's an amazing thing, especially if you have a family. But at the same time, don't take the entire amount of money that you have saved in a bank. Just trying to differentiate. And that's why I always tell people, let me just explain to you. Wacha nikuexplainia hapa hivi vitu tatu ndio uweze kuelewa, okay? Kuna vitu tatu tunazitanga. Kitu ya kwanza tunaitanga emergency fund, okay? Number 2, kuna kuanga na kitu tunaitanga sinking fund, and number 3, tunakuanga na kitu tunaitanga savings. You get those 3 terms. So emergency fund is in the zenye una fund something that you don't know. You don't know anything here. You don't know. Okay? Anything that can happen in case of your life. Maybe you get fired, or maybe something you're not having a continuous income where you used to rely, then you can be able to rely on the emergency fund. Okay? The other thing, when I say sinking fund, this is something that you are anticipating. You are anticipating an occurrence. Therefore, you are setting aside this amount of money to be able to cater for such an occurrence. For example, I always love to give this example. Maybe you have a pregnant wife. In about 9 months' time, you're required to have a nursing person at your home. You're required to have some extra, you know, nursing care and what have you, attention and what have you, which in return means money. And when I talk about savings, you save. Saving here, you might say that it houses the rest of the app here, but savings here, we usually save for 3 purposes. A, we save for the purposes of the emergency fund. B, we can also save, do we want to purchase a huge thing? You wanted to do a huge purchase, or D or C rather, you can be able to do what? For investment. So it's good to be able differentiate hizi pesa zako ambazo umeziweka kwa bank. Wacha tu kuziweka kwa kikapu kimoja, and then ukiulizwa unasema I just want to be safe. Yeah, no problem with that, but out of this 100,000, how much are you channeling towards you being safe? I'll repeat my point. Hakuna shida kusema I want to be safe, but the point is this: how much out of the 100K and you may save that is actually channeled towards you being safe? Like within this 100,000, how much can you actually channel towards what we call like an investment? Okay, if they are out of the 100,000, let's say kwa mfano, when you say emergency fund inamaanisha, let's say in a typical month where una survive na 20,000, or let's say 25,000. Or whichever the amount of money, you do your own calculations. So if you can be able to have an emergency fund that can sustain you, they usually say safer one is from 3 to 6 months, you know, without you having an income, but unaweza kula, ukunywe, ulipe rent na vitu kama hizo. So they usually say, especially if you have a family, if you can have a savings that can sustain you within this period of time, then that's an amazing. But differentiate that amount of money that you usually save in a bank. And that's why yesterday or the other time I did make a video and I told you you're supposed to have at least 3 bank accounts. A, we have the landing account, mali pesa zikifika zinaingia, all right? B, we have what we call the personal account. The C, we have what we call the developmental account or investment account. Exactly. So when you have those 3 accounts, then whatever goes towards the personal account, that should be your emergency fund, okay? If you maybe say your typical month survives on 20,000. So if you have yourself like 60,000 or 80 or 120,000, so you know your 6 months are covered just in case a BS happens. Okay. Now, if on the investment funds, now you differentiate. Let's say you have the capability of saving like 40,000 a month, 40K a month. So you have this amount of money. 20K goes towards the savings and 20K goes towards the what? The emergency fund. And this, the savings one, is what I'm calling an investment account. So that's what goes towards the investment account, is what now helps you to open your tentacles, spread your tentacles, tap for the opportunities that are available there. You've realized that, hey, right now we we're experiencing recession in most of the companies. Their shares are actually not diving. Is it the time to buy? Absolutely. You go buy those shares. Is it time to invest on the MMF? Because, by the way, I've realized that MMF actually increasing in terms of their percentages. Back then, let's say in a year ago, it was around, not even a year ago, actually, for like 7 or 8 months ago, the MMF percentage was around most of them were actually playing around 7 to 8% around there. And when you look at Sana, it was about 9%. Right now, there's some MMF that are even up to 12%. Okay, so that is exactly the thing that you're supposed to consider out there. So now the point is this: what you're supposed to know as far as these investments are concerned is to make sure that that amount of money that you've channeled towards investment is what you play around with. You see, the reason why you are actually finding it very hard to risk this amount of money, kwa sababu hauja differentiate pesa zako, umeziweka tu kwa kikapu kimoja na unasema hizi ni za investment ama hizi ni just in case. That's a reality. And remember one thing, hiyo venye tumeita personal account has nothing to do with your growth, has nothing to do with your development, has nothing to do with your progression. Because kwa hii life, by the way, this may sound rude but that's a reality. Kwa hii life, si kukula tu, kuvaa, kulipa nyumba na vitu kama hizo. It's more than that, okay? It's more than influencing people positively in your locality, making sure that at least you help those people who matters in your life, making sure that you have that positive influence in terms of you. Perhaps maybe deep inside of you, you love to be a philanthropist, but you cannot do so if you're not stable by yourself. So that's the issue of just a personal account. Hiyo haina shida because that's about recurrent and you have to eat, dress and do all those things. What brings a difference is actually the developmental or what we call it investment account. So once you do that, watch history kusema oh niko na 100k, and then for example sometimes I usually receive calls, mtu ananiambia hey Joseph, I have 100k in my bank account na sasa sijui venye naweza fanya nimfikishe 500,000. Namuuliza aje, are you ready to take that money and then you invest so that at least you can grow yourself? Hey, mimi naogopa sana because I don't want to lose my money. You see, there is no way you can have fear and the urge of investment in the same basket and decide and think that you'll make a decision. No, you have to differentiate those two terms. You see, you have to get rid of fear, because if you have the fear, you have the anxiety, and I understand the reason that's why you have fear. Perhaps maybe you've really strained and you've really tried your best to make sure that you accumulate this amount of money, and then believing that you can just put it in anywhere, then you feel like if I lose this amount of money, it's like I've lost myself. I fully understand that part, and that's why I always tell people it's always good to have a financial advisor. Pick your financial advisor whom you feel loved and so love to follow them. Make sure that at least you be talking to them. And by the way, when you talk about something continuously, you can be able to transform and change your life so that at least you can be able to take risk. For example, me, there are people who I do not love. Whenever we say we want to do something, I really don't like this kind of people who usually drag themselves. Like, let's say if you decide like each and every one, let's say in my group, for example, we decide like each and every one will contribute like 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000, whichever the capacity that you have. And then you realize in our biddies, there are people who are a bit skeptical. What if you invest, this goes this? So I usually feel my energy is being drained. And that's why you find most of the time I feel like I love doing things by myself. That's the reality. So it's also good to be careful the kind of guys whom you're hanging around. If you're hanging around with guys who are still doing the same, playing it safe, going the insurance way, instead of them investing, they rather go pick what we call like insurance for the education and what have you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you view life from a comfort point of view, security point of view, sustainability point of view, in a way that you really don't have to, you have to risk, like your appetite of risk is so much low or minimal to a point whereby you can even term it negligible, then you really do not possess the qualities of an investor. Okay, it's always good to be very careful. For example, there was a client who did approach me and told me to prepare them a business plan, okay, about importation of some things from China and whatever and what have you. And I said, okay, fine. You got to do a deposit of me preparing that customized business plan. And of course, that's how it goes. And the guy was a bit skeptical, and I told him, now, if you're a bit skeptical of you doing a deposit of couple of 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, then what makes you believe that you're gonna get yourself into this business where you're required to send up to millions of money before you even get that commodity? So you really need to work about your personality before you get into the business, and that's why you find some people, they usually see people benefiting from stocks and shares. For example, people are saying, hey, shares are increasing in price, and then you jump into the thing, and then immediately after jumping, they start going down, and then you're like, what? But they say shares are going up, and then you start with, you withdraw your money, and maybe let's say you did invest 1,000 bob, now has gone to 6,600, 600, then you have lost your 400, and then you're like, I'll never get into this. But you don't know, by the time these guys are saying shares are going up in the price, you've already lost the point. It's not the best time to invest. Just get out. Just get out. Okay? Wait for the next time. Right now, you've actually lost that opportunity. All right? That's how we do the thing. So don't try to say, hey, you're playing safe and all those kind of things. Make sure that you do something for the sake of your investment. And guess what, guys? That marks the end of my video. But don't forget this. If it's your first time watching me, make sure that you subscribe. And I know you're asking, why I do that? Because I usually post a video each and every day. So if you don't want to miss any good video, make sure that you subscribe and pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video, and let's talk business. And where is that number? Again, on the description of this specific video. See you in the next one.